Welcome to the 23rd episode of Global Heatmap. It's an initiative by USI of India where we take you through important international and strategic issues of recent time to enable all the candidates update themselves with the latest happenings, and you can subscribe this free of cost for preparation of your exams. In today's episode, we will talk about the impending summit of President Trump and President Putin, Trump's tariff war as it affects the entire world, India-UK FTA which has recently been signed, how President Trump is backing Pakistan and what are the implications, what does the Israel plan for Gaza City means, and takeaways from the President's of Philippines visit to India. The summit of President Trump and President Putin has been announced for 15th August in Alaska. It is being seen as a turning point in Russia-Ukraine war, which has passed over 3 years now, and it is in a very dangerous phase in a manner that the kind of standoff exchanges which are taking place are quite substantial, both sides. At the same time, Russia has made huge gains on the battlefield, and therefore perhaps the Western countries and NATO is reasonably alarmed in a manner that President Trump is quite anxious for some kind of ceasefire, and the West is anxious for some kind of face saving. But in the peace talks and the summit, Ukraine is unlikely to be included because Putin will not agree to meet President Trump if Zelensky is there to start with. So therefore, perhaps this conversation is going to be minus Zelensky, but at the same time, that seems to be irking Zelensky and irking the European Union members of NATO. For a very simple reason, because Zelensky feels that as per his constitution, he cannot cede territory. Now, unfortunately, as per his constitution, he also could not be talking about NATO and a whole lot of, shall I say, reasons to start the war. But notwithstanding that, be as it may, the fact is that Ukraine is not ready to cede territory. And European Union is backing Ukraine with this demand. And European Union is also reasonably unhappy that they have been sidelined as far as this meeting is concerned. Although President Trump has been saying that there will be some kind of exchange or land swapping, which has not been liked by others. At the same time, he is saying that I will be speaking to Zelensky and European Union later after I have spoken to Putin. So let's see how it goes. But as far as US and Europe are concerned, they are not on the same page. And Russia is continuing to make gains on ground. So therefore, most of the levers as far as this meeting is concerned are with Russia, because Russia has an edge and has the momentum on its side. Coming on to the Trump's tariff war which he has unleashed, and selectively in a manner that the rates of tariffs are different for different countries. With the pattern, it seems that President Trump is targeting BRICS a big way, in a manner that he is concerned about BRICS adopting a unified currency. That's number one. Number two, he is also looking at the potential threat to dollar, and therefore he also knows that he cannot take on all the BRICS countries together. So apparently the pattern emerging is that he has put tariffs on India and Brazil on a higher side. India and Brazil happen to be the highest tariffed countries amongst the global south. He has spared China for the time being because he knows that he can't tackle everybody together. And secondly, the stakes with China are quite high. And he already had a tariff bout with China in a manner that they started escalating, and he went right up to 245% tariff on China. And after that, he had to buckle once China stopped their rare earth supply to USA and a whole lot of other critical things to USA. So he knows that perhaps that war may be difficult. So apparently the strategy seems to neutralize or to somehow make Brazil and India compromise to some extent, and thereafter take on the China later. But the way he has put the tariffs arbitrarily, they are not making sense to most of the world. Take the case of India. If it was the case of why India is buying Russian oil, then China is buying Russian oil more than India, and so is the case with the European Union. But they have not been tariffed to the extent India has been tariffed. So that's one part of it. Secondly, the tariff is not making any economic sense in major issues. So therefore, it seems that tariff war is more of an ego war because President Trump, the way he thought that India will abide by what he was saying in terms of the outcome of Operation Sindoor and the confrontation which happened with Pakistan. Apparently, his lie has been ticked off by India, and he is certainly perturbed with that. And India has also not fallen in line with the US diktat the way some other countries have fallen in line, like European Union and Japan. They have given 0% tariff to USA. Now that is not possible for India, and India has not abided by that. So apparently President Trump is trying to somehow prove a point to India and Brazil. As far as Brazil is concerned, his problem is because an action on Bolsonaro has not been liked by him. He has been indirectly telling President Lula to not to do so, but then Brazil has taken a stand that law will take its own course. So I think there is some axe to grind there as well. But when it comes to India, India has taken a stand, and rightly so. Our stand is very clear that energy we will buy from whichever source we want to buy. Energy sovereignty is important to India, energy security is important to India, and energy affordability is important to India because we have, amongst G20 countries, India has the lowest per capita income, and therefore an affordable energy is necessary for India and is very crucial. And therefore, if we get cheaper oil from Russia, we will certainly buy it, and we are not going to go by the diktat of USA on this issue. Similarly, now that India has taken a stand, so what are the options for India? The options are many. Firstly, we should have a strategic patience, which we have. We have not retaliated with a retaliatory tariff to USA because all these are temporary measures. Apparently, President Trump, after the inflation goes up in America, he will have to mend his ways in some manner or the other. So that's one part of it. Secondly, in short term, we have perhaps we will have to find market. We will have to find market in the local consumption as well within India. We will have to find alternate markets in ASEAN, in Southeast Asia, in Africa, in some other countries as well. And also, the exporters will have to perhaps look for alternatives. At the same time, so diversification is important, and Atmanirbhar Bharat is important. Also, a pitch for Swadeshi is being made by Prime Minister Modi. That is also becoming very important because we should not be dependent on the imports from America as far as possible. Although it is a long-term measure, but certainly things have started in that direction. We also have to take a stand, which we have taken, to protect our agriculture and dairy industry because that has got maximum manpower employed, and cost effectiveness wise it cannot be exactly the same as America because of the differential in technology, biotechs, and other per capita productivity. So apparently we will have to take a stand, and India, I'm sure, is going to come out stronger after this standoff on tariff. India is also doing some more actions to perhaps ward off the or mitigate the impact of tariff in a manner that we are trying to have FTA with as many countries as possible. In that context, India-UK FTA was signed this very recently, and therefore UK has removed 99% tariffs from 99% of the product line going from India, and similarly India has also excused almost 90% of tariff from their product lines coming from UK. Also, India is opening key sectors of service economy to UK firms, and we are also looking at a whole lot of grant of and commercial presence of Indian companies in terms of consultancy, computer, environment services, and many other areas which were not open to each other so far, or not being exploited by each other so far. In the same line, as President Trump is trying to make a point, he also is trying to use Pakistan and back Pakistan, perhaps to give a message to India. We saw America helping out Pakistan in terms of maintenance of F-16. We also saw America trying to help Pakistan when the Op Sindoor was on, to try and somehow mitigate the strikes by India. We also saw President Trump inviting Asif Munir to White House, which seems to have emboldened him. And now Asif Munir was invited second time to USA. So apparently he seems emboldened, and therefore he has chosen to give a nuclear threat to India, and also chosen to say that if India makes bombs or makes dams on the rivers which are going to Punjab of Pakistan, he may bomb those dams as well. But these threats are more of a frustration, because India has very clearly and concisely not only said but demonstrated that India will not take any nuclear blackmail. That's number one. And number two, India has also demonstrated the capability to strike back, and strike back in any corner of Pakistan. And there are no restraints on that, because we have established a doctrine of deterrence in a manner that any terror attack will be taken as an act of war. So Asif Munir also knows his limits. But then apparently, now that he chose to speak this in US soil, it indicates that maybe that US may have prompted him to say so, so that a message to India is stronger, because in President Trump's terms, India is not buckling, and India is standing tall as far as its stand on tariffs are concerned, and its stands on no mediation by USA is concerned. So I think it's a tug of war which is going to last for some time. But in my opinion, as an analyst, I think India needs to endure Trump for another 6 odd months. After that, he will be on election mode, and that is the time that all the inflation which has been caused by tariffs is going to bite Americans, and that is the time perhaps Trump will have to mend his ways. That is what the expectations are of most of the world as well. Now shifting focus to the Middle East, where Netanyahu is hell-bent on scaring all the Gazans out from Gaza. And in that context, he has now announced that he is going to occupy Gaza City and capture the entire Gaza. Now, this has drawn fair amount of criticism all over the world. As far as USA is concerned, except USA, perhaps USA is the only country which is standing by Israel, and more so President Trump in specific. So from White House, what they have said is that military plan has been left to Israel, which indirectly means that they have given a go-ahead to Netanyahu in some manner or the other, or they are not going to obstruct it anyway. And Israel is least interested in whether anybody else agrees or not. So they are looking at the options now of how to capture Gaza. They are making plans. There are internal dissent in Israel, and there are many lobbies in Israel which are trying to prevent Netanyahu from doing so. The relatives of the hostages, they fear that in this exercise or in such kind of attack, maybe all hostages may get killed. So there is a very heavy risk to the lives of hostages. That's number one. And number two, the kind of atrocities which have happened, more than 61,000 civilians have been killed in Gaza. That I think that toll is also not being liked, and majority of the allies of Israel, erstwhile allies of Israel, they are also saying that we are going to recognize Palestine as a state and are looking for two-state solution. There is also a plot or ploy to field a resolution in United Nations General Assembly because more than 3/4 of the world feels that it should be two-state, and Palestinians have a right to have a state. So this is how perhaps odds are against Netanyahu. But as far as the Gaza ceasefire is concerned, Hamas is not agreeing to the permanent occupation of Israel, and they are ready to fight. That's what they have conveyed. Although they are talking, but then they want Israelis to go back from Gaza, which Israelis are not agreeing to. So the chances of truce are less. At the same time, the deaths of starvation have started making echo everywhere in the world. At the same time, apparently the hostages are also being starved in similar manner, and that is also creating a fair amount of, shall I say, concerns in Israel and elsewhere. It still remains a flashpoint. Gaza still remains a flashpoint with every day everyone looking at some kind of relief for Gazans, but that is not happening. At the same time, hostages are still stuck, and they are also equally aggrieved with facing starvation as well as facing isolation for almost close to 2 years. Another major event which took place the recent past was the visit of President of Philippines to India, which becomes a very important visit in a manner that Philippines is now upgraded to a strategic partner. Both countries have also decided on a plan of action from 2025 to 2029 for cooperation in defense, maritime security. At the same time, the defense cooperation is also increasing. India is likely to export more defense equipment, and Philippines has shown fair amount of interest in various defense equipment. And one of the major steps which China may not be happy was that India has reaffirmed its support to 2016 UNCLOS arbitration award given by PCA in favor of Philippines and against China's stand. And that was a fair award as far as UNCLOS is concerned, and it actually gives out the kind of claim which China is making to be unviable and unrealistic claims and unjustified claims. There is also a plan to bolster the bilateral trade between the two, and therefore a preferential trade agreement talks are also in progress, and we are also looking at revising the Asian India talks, because Philippines happens to be the chair in ASEAN. Also, India is looking at e-visa for Philippines, and Philippines has already given free visa to India. In fact, so that is basically to promote tourism and business. So we find that there is fair amount of strategic convergence in Indo-Pacific issues between India and Philippines. So these were the major issues which happened in the recent past, in last 10 days or so. We will come back within next 2 weeks with the latest events of next 2 weeks. Thank you very much.